but I have heard that he uses that one as a serving tray. So that should make his emotions about the tournament
And
pretty
he,
clear. Holds the record for winning the longest
yeah,
match as well, if I'm
exactly. I
not
was going to
mistaken.
say,
Yes. Yeah.
and that will not be broken because rules
Yeah,
have been
because now the rules, both of them, all of them are broken. Their doubles was beautiful and ruthless at the same time. I used to find a lot of people trying to imitate his serve.
yeah.
Like,
So it's 20 years on since 2003, and we have great memories of some Americans which graced the court. Primarily Andy Roddick, who won the US Open in 2003, and another major event of 2003 was Sampras retiring at that point. So, how well or how dearly you miss Andy Roddick?
well, that is a rather difficult question to answer because I very well remember not exactly being a Roddick fan. He was the only challenger to Federer at that point of time, and me
Yeah,
being a Federer fan, I was always rooting for Federer. But that being said, I think Andy Roddick is one of the most loved tennis players to have
yeah,
ever played this sport. I don't find any Roddick haters. I used to find a lot of people trying to imitate his serve,
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
imitate his style where he used to, pull up his sleeves and all that, the way he used to wear his cap. So Andy Roddick was a rock star on the tennis tour. He was an icon, and obviously he won the 2003 US Open by
yeah.
defeating Juan Carlos Ferrero, who is Carlos Alcaraz's coach.
Wow,
So yeah.
the game is certainly coming full circles.
Yes, yes, yes. And
The,
talking about Sampras, obviously we belong to that era where Sampras and Agassi dominated the game.
yeah, yeah,
I remember you were a Sampras fan, I was an Agassi fan. The whole single-handed backhand versus double-handed backhand, and the whole
yeah,
serve volley versus baseline game, which
yeah.
at that point was equal. It
Yeah, at
was
that
not
point, there was a lot of focus on serve early against baseline, right? And as you mentioned,
exactly
yeah, there were clearly two eras, or I think two types of people who
two
used to
types
support.
of
Yeah, yeah.
players.
And Agassi being dominant. I remember in an interview, though, Agassi was asked who is the best player, who are the top best or top five best players, and Agassi mentioning Pete Sampras, Pete Sampras, Pete Sampras, Pete Sampras, and Pete Sampras.
Right, right.
So there was great respect, but I'm
Yeah.
sure there was a great rivalry as well, which a lot of people
Yeah,
loved.
and I've heard that they didn't exactly get along well. I've even
Yeah.
read in his book that
Mhm.
they weren't the best of friends. But yeah. But that being said, as you mentioned, it's been 20 years on
Yeah.
2003 US. The last American to win the Grand Slam is Andy Roddick at the 2003 US Open. He came very close in 2009 Wimbledon, the dreaded final for Roddick fans, where even a person like me who is an absolute diehard Roger fan, even I felt bad when Roddick lost that match.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was a sad event. I think that is remembered a lot. Maybe more than sad. Probably it's remembered in a way positively, I guess, for both players in certain.
Yeah, not that fondly by him, I'm sure.
But,
I have read somewhere that the 2009 runner-up shield, Roddick uses it as a serving tray now. So
uh, he also
no
played.
disrespect intended, but I have heard that he uses that one as a serving tray. So that should make his emotions about the tournament pretty clear, I think.
No, I also saw him playing with a frying pan with somebody, and obviously now because I've seen the video, I know that it was not uh, his Wimbledon finalist trophy. But yeah, I think if that is there, his emotions are quite clear. But
Correct.
in terms of US or American tennis, I feel that there are a couple of more important news items that are coming up. So being Jack Sock retiring after US Open
Yes.
2023 and John Isner. So two again amazing players. Jack Sock eventually moved to doubles, but he was fast paced. He was involved everywhere. He was friends with everyone, and he was great at the Lever Cup. So many fond memories, especially of Jack Sock. And John Isner is a full on legend where he serves, his behavior, everything is great.
and he holds the record for winning the longest
Yeah,
match as well. If I'm
exactly. I
not
was going to
yes,
say,
yes, yeah,
and that will not be broken because rules
yeah,
have been
because now
changed.
the rules have changed.
Yeah, so we
There
expect.
will never be a match as long as that one, and Eisner has had triumphed in that match. The match
Yeah,
lasted for 3 days, right?
yeah, 3 days something, and it was crazy. I think the number of games was also kind of unimaginable. So even if the rules will were not going to change, I feel it is still difficult to beat that record.
That is not happening again. That
Yeah,
they played like I think some. If you count in terms of if you translate the games into sets, they must have played a best of 25 setter or something like that.
yeah, yeah. That's quite up there. But so some sad news on that front again. But during this time as well, I think one point came to my mind is during this time there was no clear US dominance rate, and it was only the big three, and nobody's from US.
Right, right, and that also that point also has been on my mind now because even John Eisner and Jack Sock, I'm
Hmm.
sorry to say, but they never really challenged anybody for the big titles.
Yeah,
When here and there, John Eisner famously upsetted Roger at one event, and he said that this is the best match of my life. Then I guess even Jack Sock or Eisner himself must have defeated the big three, big four, big five, whatever, at
yeah,
some point. But none of the Americans won a Grand Slam in men's singles in these 20 years. And the reason that this, I won't say disturbs me, but I want to talk about this is because before that, for almost 20, 30 years, we have seen Americans absolutely dominate this game.
yeah,
We have a Connors, we had a McEnroe, then of course we had Agassi and Sampras, and suddenly with Andy Roddick, the inflow of this kind of players
yeah,
has just stopped
yeah.
right away.
And I remember there was a lot of craze about the university tennis there. Even Kevin Anderson is a product of that. I think a lot of people are a
Right,
product of that.
right,
We
right.
also, I mean, I also clearly remember James Blake being one of the favorites. So I don't know,
Yes,
obviously, university tennis is related to him or not, but he was one of the very, very famous guys on tour. Even Michael Chang.
yes, yes, yes.
So these guys, I mean, took that every time. I think among the top 10, maybe 4 or 5 were from the US. Uh,
Even if you remember Mardy Fish,
yeah,
who played doubles with Andy Roddick, so he was also a very good player.
yeah,
And he used to challenge the big guys once in a while. So it's not like we are just talking about these guys. Even Marty
right.
Fish was there along with Andy Roddick.
Right, right. But I think as I was mentioning, probably everybody has not moved on, but along with the university tennis, or there are other options that have opened up. So the academies in Spain, the academy now in Italy. So there are a lot of options which maybe players have. And is that the reason for maybe this? I won't say downfall, but a little bit of a dipping curve among the US elite.
Well, now that is really, I mean, we can't really speculate what is the reason
Yeah,
for this happening because for the past 20 odd years, we have only been talking about the big four, big five guys. All of them are from Europe.
yeah,
Of course, we have had a Johan Martin Del Potro, we have had a Marat Safin, coming in between. But other than that, it has been plain absolute European dominance. And even now, if you look at the players who
yeah.
we are talking about at this US Open, most of them are European.
Yes. And that's why somehow I feel that Labour Cup is not that competitive. Although it has the concept is great and everything is around, I think, golf. There's something related to golf, which is the exact same event where they play US against Europe. But the Labour Cup essentially, every time it seems that Europe will dominate, and kind of it might get boring if nobody from US really comes up.
Correct. Yes. Yes, I agree with you on that point. But the thing is that US has only lacked, if
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, I want to see that only in men's singles because Serena Williams has
Yeah.
dominated the women's singles tennis for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
Almost
Yeah.
even 2 3 years back, if we see that Serena Williams was the dominant force, she was always the champion or the contender for a
Mm-hmm.
tournament.
Yeah.
Secondly, doubles. Come on, Brand Brothers. I'm sorry, but their doubles was beautiful and ruthless at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That was great to watch. They played brilliantly. There was technique, there was physicality, there was power, there was absolute ruthlessness. They
Right,
have
right.
completely dominated the men's doubles arena for a really long time. So it's only been this the men's singles event that has had a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
So actually, since you uh, have initiated this, I want to ask you: do you really think of the current crop of players? We have a Taylor Fritz, we have a Tommy Paul,
yeah.
we have a Ben Shelton, the
Mm.
next gen McEnroe, maybe we have a Tiafo. So, do you think at some point these guys will, rise up to the challenge, or it is unfortunately going to be just a top 10, top 20 scene?
I feel it will be top 10, top 20 for a while because nobody seems even close to Alcaraz. Uh, Djokovic is still playing and is much ahead of the rest of the pack. Sinner is also a great player, but unfortunately, is not from US. So
Right.
from this context, I think even though he flourishes or he has a great chance, but he's a European again. So looks like the US entrants will be hovering around the top 10 mark. Maybe if a new guy comes in, probably that's the best chance. That's maybe my opinion.
Right. So, all right, on that note, let us wrap up this conversation. To our viewers, who do you think among the current crop of American players can really make a mark and probably win a Grand Slam and challenge the supposedly big two, big three, big four, whatever we have running in tennis right now? Thank you for watching. Have a good day.